welcome to the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast. I'm Ruth and I love to knit. It is the 7th of September 2022. I should know that date as my kids went back to school today. And I'm coming to you, as always, from Devon in the southwest of England, where I live with my husband Nigel and my two kids, Eva, who is 14, and Samuel, who is 12. And I am really happy to be here today. It's been a bit of a long holiday from podcasts of at least a month, but here we are, we're back, kids back to school, so I thought, right, this morning I'll get my act together and get sorted and come on and spend a bit of time with you. Where can you find me? I'm Ruth Loves to Knit podcast on Instagram. I am Ruth Loves to Knit on Ravelry, but hang my head in shame as I don't even know how I'm going to catch up. I am so far behind on posting my finished objects that maybe I should just start again, I don't know. And we also have an email for this podcast, which is ruthlovestonitpodcast@gmail.com. And as I always say, the best ways to contact me are email and Instagram, and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. And so many people have emailed me or messaged me on Instagram to see if I'm okay, and because I had a bit of a break. And it wasn't planned, it was just the fact that if you'd watched my last podcast, you know I didn't get to spend holiday with my kids and husband, and I think absence maybe made the heart go fonder, because we just decided that, well, I just subconsciously decided that I would just spend the rest of the holidays with the kids, and I have really enjoyed, although my kids are pretty much well, Eva's a teenager, Samuel will be a teenager in December. They're really good company and really good fun, and this is probably this is probably the best summer I've had with them. They're just the chats, the time we spent together, the fun times, the laughs, and I am not taking it for granted at all, because I know even maybe this time next year we'll just get grunts out of them. So I have just taken the time to enjoy them, and also I haven't been feeling very well. It's the ongoing saga of my health, and so we've had up days and down days, but the ultimate thing and the upside for yourselves is lots and lots and lots of knitting. Well, I hope you think it's an upside. I hope you think it's an upside when this podcast lasts for 3 hours. So right at the start, go and get yourself a cup of tea. Go and get your knitting or crochet or cross stitch or whatever you do. And maybe you'll need a strong coffee, I don't know. And as I always say too, if you don't want to watch it all in one go, the joy of YouTube is wherever you pause or stop, when you start again, the next time it'll be start you right back where you left off. So please don't feel that you have to watch it all in one go, or at all. I suppose if you've tuned in and think, oh, not her again. So here we are, we have loads to talk about, loads of knitting, loads of goody, nitty goodness, and I will be all over the place, as every podcaster says whenever they are they have had a wee bit of a hiatus from podcasts, and you feel all fingers and thumbs and tongue tied. And I hope you'll bear with me, as I probably won't look at the camera and I'll be looking in the wrong direction and all the rest of it. But here we are, we're back, and hopefully back on schedule. And sure, let's give it a go. Oh wait, the other thing, I've got my notes here as always, just in case. So as always, I want to thank everybody. We had how many M's can I put in one video? We had our 16th wedding anniversary on Monday. We did nothing, my husband didn't remember. But that's not what it's about, is it? And I'd just like to thank everybody who wished us a happy anniversary on Instagram especially. I put a wee picture up just to remind myself, but blink of an eye and 16 years is over. And as we said, if we age as much in the next 16, I don't think we'll still be here. But yes, still very happily married, still love each other, and I'm very thankful for 16 years together. So that's just a wee thank you for that. I'm talking very fast. Let's slow down, Ruth, and just take a wee drink. Yes. So, excuse me. We have a CAL, as you all know, and are all participating in. Thank you so much. Again, I'm doing that with Fernanda of Little Monkeys and Me. It's our 2nd year of doing this, and I think it's bigger and better this time, but maybe not by us, because I took some time. I was still replying on Instagram and everything, but I think maybe both of us have life's just got busy, and for Fernanda's homeschooling, working, everything, and still managing to reply to messages, but just hasn't got on to podcasts. So we apologise for that, but you know, it's just a continuous thing that's going on to the 30th of September. Still time, 7th, if you want to do a wee one skein shawl, jump in there. And just very quickly, because I'm sure you're fed up hearing about it, but just the details are, if you post your chat on Instagram under the hashtag of ATPSCal22 and show us your yarn, show us your progress, whatever. So the key to that one is, even if you don't finish your shawl, you might still be in with a chance of winning some prizes if you put your pictures in the chat. Tip number 1. And when you've finished your shawl, put a picture in ATPS Cal 22FO. And it's across the pond shawl cal, but we've shortened it down this year because it's a bit of a mouthful, and because Fernanda's in America and I'm in England, we thought it was appropriate title. So yes, we've shortened it on Instagram, and also the option of Ravelry. You know my thoughts on Ravelry and the leaving comments and stuff. I just can't, my brain doesn't compute with it, but lots of people on there too, and there's a chat thread on there and a finished objects thread on there, and I have dipped in. I haven't said a lot, but I've hearted and I've loved and I've all the rest of it. I am watching, big brothers, big sisters watching you, but Fernanda's kind of taken that on, and lots of you are chatting to each other on Ravelry, which is lovely. But so if you want to post your finished object there, it is Little Monkeys and Me in the groups tab, and you click on and you'll easily see what you have to do. And I just looked last night before I went to bed, and in Ravelry there's 103 finished objects, and on Instagram it's 168. So blown away, and of course my favourite thing, loads of crocheted ones. It just boggles my mind. It's some sort of magic. And loads of people with more than one in there, which you're more than welcome to do. And if you can find another cal that you can enter your shawl in, or you're in another cal and you think you can dip into ours, go ahead, double dip, triple dip, dip, whatever you want. But my only request, just for our sake, is that if you're putting your finished object on Ravelry, don't put it on Instagram, and vice versa, because it just makes it easier when it comes to point of plucking prizes. And our friend Alexa hasn't responded, that's okay, picks them for us. So it's not on, please don't feel that if you feel you're a beginner knitter, that your you know, simple shawl isn't any less valid than a big extravagant Stephen West something or other. You know, please feel free to take part, but absolutely no stress. Knitting should not cause any stress, although you'll see in a minute or two there's been a bit. I don't want this to cause you any stress. Don't be doing this to please us or anything like that. Just knit a wee shawl, maybe for yourself or for somebody else, and just have a bit of fun with it, and connect with people you maybe wouldn't have connected with before, and see all the beautiful bits of inspiration. And you know, if you watch my bonus shawl cal episode, I have about 60 bazillion shawls that I want to knit, and I probably added another bazillion to that from seeing everybody else's shawls. So knit them for yourself, knit them for someone else. A lot of people have said that this is their first time to knit a shawl and they're really enjoying it, so just go for it and be part of it if you want to. Now, I think probably to make things easier, come the end of September, beginning of October, I'm going to do like a bonus episode again to do prizes and all that sort of stuff, because adding it into a normal podcast would drive you potty. So so that will be something to look forward. Keep your eyes peeled for that, and Fernanda and I'll get together and choose those prizes. And I do say sorry about there's no Zoom has materialised. It just has been a bit hectic and it just hasn't materialised. Maybe next time will we do it again? Fernanda, third time lucky next year? Well, we'll see. And yes, thank you very, very much for taking part, and it has been so much fun, and just lovely to see your finished objects and just the yarns you've used, and especially all over the world. And you know, some of the comments are in German, some of the comments are in Italian. It has been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, just chuffed to bits that you wanted to join our wee party, so to speak. So that's it. If you're not taking part, don't be worrying. It's not a problem. Hopefully normal programming will resume in October. Forgot to say, this mess here, it's changed. My buckets aren't here anymore. My son in the holidays decided that he wanted to clear and organise his Lego. Now, any mum who has a child who is into Lego would immediately say, what do you need to sort and clear your Lego? And he needed my tubs, and I had Kallax boxes here, and he used those as well. So all change in here, but not finished. This is not going to be their final resting place. It's very messy looking, but that's all my books that I have for knitting. And I managed to downsize by 2 of these boxes from yarns. You may see a destash coming maybe later on in the year, maybe coming up to Christmas. So keep your eyes, and I'll let you know about that too. And I've realised that I have many things that I never use, many things that I don't need, and many beautiful yarns that caught my eye at one point or other, but are just not my taste, or maybe a leftover skein that just feel I won't use. So there will be a destash on Instagram at some point, but I will give you plenty of warning about that, and you can maybe have a wee treat, and it'll be bargain prices because I love giving stuff away to start with, but it would be good to recoup a wee bit of that money. So there you go. And the other thing I had been thinking was, you know, I'm an avid shawl knitter, obviously, and I have some shawls that I've knit and maybe aren't my taste in colour anymore, or aren't my taste in style, and I was wondering about destashing some of those and giving the money. I mean, they would be literally, you know, £10 each or something like that, and giving the money to the hospital that I support in Bangladesh, where I used to work, where I give all my ad revenue to. And incidentally, I haven't talked about it in a long time. I've always, since I started, oh, this is a ramble, I do apologise. Since I started allowing the ad revenue to go, I think we've given something like upwards of £600 to the hospital. I've given it fully to them every time. And I just think that's amazing. The difference £600 can make in a country like Bangladesh is just mind-blowing, and especially when they've had the monsoon floods. And I'm just chuffed to bits to be able to do that. It's not a lot, but £600 plus. And I'll keep doing that as long as I'm doing the podcast. Yeah, Lamb Hospital in Bangladesh is where I used to work, in northwest Bangladesh. And yeah, we're a very special place in my heart. And for those of you who don't know, I was a midwife, and yes, I worked there for quite a number of years. And so that's where my ad revenue money goes to. And someday maybe I'll talk more about it at the end of my podcast. But yes, so just to let you know. So that's all those rambly thoughts are going on in my head. But it won't be maybe just before Christmas or something like that. Maybe we'll think of more assembled thoughts to do something like that. But in the meantime, I'll keep knitting shawls anyway. So gosh, 13 minutes. This is going to be a long one. I hope you have a cup of tea and maybe the kettle on the boil again. So that was the cal. That was okay. So last time I talked about a giveaway, and the giveaway was a pattern for this shawl, and this is the Jigsaw shawl by Oliphant Cat, and I knit this in 100% cotton, and in hindsight, although it's like butter and it's absolutely gorgeous, and incidentally this is the first day since probably middle of June that I've worn a shawl, and I have had shawl withdrawal. I have missed wearing my shawls, but if you've heard any podcast in the UK, excuse me, any podcaster in the UK, you'll know that we've had the most ridiculously hot summer. Well, it's definitely, there's nip in the air in the mornings now, and we've had torrential rain for the last 3 days. So it's definitely heading out of that, the awful hot, yucky weather we had. But today is the first day I've even had anything around my neck. So this was the giveaway, and there was 197 comments. and I did the magical app that does the random comment picker, and I'll put the picture up here of who won, and it's Stitch Itch. It's not brilliant? I love that name, Stitch Itch. If you're Stitch Itch, please contact me on probably email or Instagram, and I will get lovely Kat to send over your pattern. And if you can, if you're on Ravelry, please send me a Ravelry name, and then she can just transfer it over. If you're not on Ravelry, please obviously send me your email and we'll get something sorted out. So that's Stitch Itch has won the Jigsaw shawl pattern, and I think I mean, it looks lovely, but it doesn't have the stitch definition that I might like, so this might be another one that I'm going to maybe cast on again, but that's the one I did anyway. So congratulations, and I'm going to leave it off because it's too warm. It didn't last long, did it? So that was a giveaway. I am going to get started on knitting, I promise, and I have loads. That was a giveaway, but if you've noticed, if the steely-eyed among you, while I wasn't podcasting, I reached 4,000 plus subscribers on YouTube and 2,000 plus subscribers on Instagram, which absolutely blows my little menopausal mind. I can't get over that to anybody. I mean, well, if you know me, you know I would talk to the wall about knitting, but I'm just blown away by it. And I was trying to think of a giveaway because, well, I love giving things away for a start, but obviously, I mean, I can't see me reaching 5,000, so I thought I'd better do something. But as you know, the Cal prizes, there are many, and that could bankrupt me. So I thought, I don't know if I can afford to post yarn off to dear knows where and all the rest of it, but the kindness of strangers is overwhelming. And I have 2 patterns to give away instead, which are just stunning. So I hope you'll accept that as giveaways for the 4,000. And I'm sure by Christmas I'll have doing a Christmas giveaway. So I will have a tangible pop in the post kind of giveaway as well later on in the year. But for this 4,000 and 2,000, I want to give away 2 patterns. So bear with me and you'll see which ones it's going to be. And amazing thank you to the beautiful designers who have given me these free patterns to give away. Right, knitting. Let's get into the knitting. I'm so sorry. Okay, FOs. Just making sure I've said everything because the way my brain is, I could easily forget. Yes, FOs, I have many because you'll hear about it later, but we ended up having a very unexpected long, 2 very unexpected long car journeys. We've taken the train several, maybe 3 or 4 times in the summer. We've watched a lot of films. In front of the fan. We've done board games. We've done and I always have my knitting, and the kids just expect it, except for one train journey to Exeter, which my son said, "Mommy, please don't knit," because there were some kids, some boys from his school sitting right beside us. So normally it doesn't bother them, but I said, okay, right, I won't knit on that train, just the going to Exeter train journey. So that was the only time that I didn't knit. So I have 5, I think, 6 finished objects, and please don't feel pressurized. Whenever you see my finished object, I knit for at least 4 hours a day. Sometimes I can knit during the day. Well, I knit quite a lot during the day when the kids were off school. I have the privilege of being able to be with my kids, and after many years of working shifts when I wasn't with them, but and as soon as I get the dinner sorted and the kids do the dishes, I start knitting till 10, half 10 at night. So that's how, and a lot of waiting in cars. I've took some pictures and put them on Instagram. My son's very into virtual reality at the minute. I think he lives in virtual reality, and he's only 12, so you have to take him, and I sit and knit. Or if waiting for my daughter with her friends, there's a lot of waiting. So, and I never lose the opportunity to knit. So please don't feel intimidated. There's no speed limit. There's no police here. There's nothing. But I have got quite a few things to show you. And of course, me being me, there'll be a story with each one. Now, there's 20 minutes. Oh dear me. Right, okay. All right, so the first one is a shawl, which you've seen before, and there'll be a lot of rustling because I've put a lot of the leftover yarn in plastic bags to keep it together. And this is my finished object of Always Better Together shawl by Brenda Brayfield. And it's just, I think, gorgeous. That is lace, but you can't really see it the way you can see it there. This shawl can be knit in 4-ply or DK. I chose to do it in DK. Look at that beautiful lace there. So it knit up quite quickly. Lots of slip stitches. And it's going to be so, so cozy. And Brenda, I've discovered, is originally from Northern Ireland, was born in Northern Ireland and moved to the States, I want to say. So her patterns on all of her other patterns on Ravelry are all Northern Ireland names, like Portrush and things like that. So you go and check her out because it's really fun. And the yarns I use, sorry, crinkling. The yarns I used are Norah George, who isn't dying anymore, in Black Forest, which is that gorgeous. Some people thought it was brown, but it's not. It's that, really, it does look like Black Forest Gatto. You know, that really, really dark, maroony red, I don't know, but it's not brown. And then the pink is Ducky Darlings in Cherryade. So Ducky Darlings in Cherryade. And I used 2 of each with wee bit left over of each. And I just think it's absolutely glorious. I love it. Absolutely can't wait till it's cold enough and I can pop that on. Now, this is my first giveaway. Lovely Brenda got in touch with me and said she would like to give away this pattern. The Always Better Together pattern. As I say, you can do it in fingering weight or DK or any, I think. And her pattern is so detailed. It is amazing. She's left no stone unturned. So if you've never knit a shawl before, or lace before, or slip stitches before, or mosaic knitting before, you could definitely have a go at this. She's given you so many options. It makes it look like it's a thick pattern, but it's just so well explained. Now you can't get this, you have to get this off a website. So she has said she'll send it, I'll contact her and she'll send it directly to anybody, the person who wins. So that is my first giveaway and my first finished object, the Always Better Together shawl. And it's just wonderful. And she designed it when obviously just coming out of lockdown with her knitting group. So if you want to win that wee pattern, I think I have 2 patterns to give away. So I think the best plan is if you put just a comment, put anything in the comments and put which one you'd like, and then I'll choose one for each one. So the first one is Always Better Together. So keep that in your mind, okay? Then the next one is another shawl, and this was a big one. Now, as I said, I hadn't been feeling great. Hopefully by the end of the year this is going to be sorted. I have a CT scan on the 20th of September, so I'm hoping we're inching forward again. And I don't know how to show you this, so I did really, really, really rubbish video of this with workmen watching me and the sun shining so I couldn't see on the screen and everything, but it is humongous. It's 5 skeins, absolutely humongous, beautiful fade. So I'll show you this sort of first to show that I have done it. I mean, I was saying to Amy Palco of the Meaningful Stitch, I don't even know quite how I'm going to wear it. It sits beautifully on my shoulders, which I have slopey shoulders, so I could definitely wear it as a shawl. I mean, and that's not going anywhere. Or I could wear it with, you know, right round and then a shawl cuff. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. And I actually cut it short. With all Stephen West shawls, he gives you the options nearly all to cut it short. So this border should have been twice the length, but I gave up the will to live by that stage. It should have finished with 1019 stitches, and it all ended with a I-cord bind off. So this should have been probably right down. There's definitely a theme, and I might have to get off this theme of this sort of dark winey colour because the first one was a bit like that. This one has this in, although it's beautiful from the fade right down, a lovely lemony yellow. And just very quickly, we'll go over the, where I've put them, excuse me, over the yarns. So we have, they're mostly West Yorkshire spinners. So the first one, sorry, but the first one was Kitty Bennet from West Yorkshire Spinners. Of course, the light. Or West Yorkshire Spinners, oh my word. West Green Loft Yarn. Don't even have an excuse. So, and then there was a Botanical yarn. I will put the details in of all the ones I've used in my notes because this would take forever. Botanical yarn. And then very last one, the really dark one with, and there's maybe only 15-20 grams left of each one. And the last one, because I did cut it short, has a wee bit more. And this is given to me by lovely Rebecca of Cherryade podcast, and it's Stewart yarns and a Stag poly. It's a lovely tonal wine colour. So that's, I'll put the order and I'll put the names. So I just, the soft, because it's all Garter, it is just, but it's called the Garter Abyss by Stephen West, and I fell into the abyss, I think. I think I fell into the abyss. I just think even at home, I mean, that's, you could do all sorts of that and it's not coming off even my slopey shoulders. So that's another one, and it was just perfect when I wasn't feeling well because it was just Garter back and forth and a few wee eyelets and fading, and he tells you when to fade, how to fade, and I love it. It's just great. I just keep that there. And then, so that's number 2. Oh, sorry about the noise of the plastic. Then number 3, I've shown these picture of this on Instagram, and this is my Pheodora Capelet. It's blowing out now. Everything's gone funny behind, and I love knitting this so much. It's in DK, so it knit up quickly. There's pictures on Instagram of me wearing it. I'll try and put them up here. I can't remember if I kept them or not. And I knit this with John Arbon. This is Pheodora Capelet by Lauren Peterson, who is Larkin Whimsies on Instagram. And she's not got many patterns, but they're all this beautiful colour work. There's a jumper, there's a couple of cowls, and she has given me a code for one of her patterns. So if you would like to knit this or one of her other patterns, she's given me a code and you can just pop it in. But I am also knitting another one of hers, so you might want to keep it. But so the first pattern is Always Better Together, and the next one is Pheodora, and I will have all the details by Lauren Peterson. And you can write it in whatever way you want. The Pheodora, I'll put Pheodora name on the screen, or you can say Lauren Peterson, or you can say the colour work, or whatever way you want to, but it is just, it's on the back as well. Now the only thing I changed about this is 2 rows at the very bottom of the colour work. It should have had another sort of wee blip here, so to speak, but I didn't want to go into a new skein because I had 2 skeins left over for it, and I thought I'm not going into a new skein for 2 rows of wee bits of blippy colour work. And until then, the biggest gap in the colour work is 5 stitches, so I didn't even carry the floats. I'll show you my floats. Is that? There's my floats. I didn't carry any of them. Or, you know, I didn't lock any of them. I just carried them across, and it's just, I cannot wait to wear this. I knit it slightly longer, just to go down over my arms a bit further. So mine goes down to about the bend of my arms, just where about this shawl is. Can't recommend it enough. The colour work chart is so easy to follow. I did blow it up a bit on the computer, but beautiful deep black, and then this is coming out more pink than it is, but I've definitely got a theme. Definitely got a theme for my colour scheme. And as I say, this is Knit by Numbers from John Arbon. You see that? And it's number a DK, and it's number 75. And then the other one I had got, had been in my stash for ages, and I had such an aversion to knitting with black yarn that I didn't use it. It's also knit by numbers, and it's number 1. So I used, there's 250 meters in these, so I used a full one of this, so 250 meters for the colour work, and I used I'd say 2 3/4 so what that be, about 750 meters of the black. So it's a really, really good, and you could knit it with anything. You could knit it with Stylecraft DK, you can knit it with really fancy hand dyed, whatever, but I got all of this in D-Stash and Sales and all the rest of it, but I love it. It's knit up beautifully. The stitch definition is fantastic, and I am very, very happy with it. So if you would like to win that pattern, please put it in the comments, and we'll get that sorted. We'll draw that prize for next time. Right, sorry, that was on the floor. Then I'll do my last shawl now. So that's, if you remember my shawl bonus episode, I had picked 4 shawls. So that's the Always Better Together was one of them, and this is the other one. So I've got 2 done from my list, and I think about 3 others done that I just cast on anyway. And this is the probably the last one I'll get done for the cowl. And this is the, I've forgotten the name of it. Oh, Cornish Thrift Shawl. Again, look, it's that colour. They're all the same family, but just slightly different tones. I didn't really think about it, and obviously I really like it, so I didn't really, oh, it's wound in, but it's not tucked in. And this is the Cornish Thrift Shawl, which is from the Knitter magazine, but it's by, oh, my brain's going today. This is why I have notes. Nicola Diggins from the Knitting Shed, but it was in the Knitter magazine, oh, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, can't remember. I don't have the pattern here, but this beautiful stitch here. If you don't like purling, it's maybe not for you. That's up though. There, and the other thing was, it was a wee bit of a flaff, but not too much. As it was, you change needle size from this to this every time. So initially it was a bit of a pain with these, but it did block out so nicely that I'm glad I did it. So that's the Cornish Thrift Shawl. I said before, they have she has a jumper in this pattern too. This must be the Cornish Thrift Stitch, but it just only goes up to like a 48 bust, so it's not very size inclusive. So this is my probably last shawl for the for the cowl, and I did this in the red is Mulled Wine Knot from Needle and Thread, and I took the full 2 skeins for that. And then for the lovely variegated one, which is this. It's awful hard to show things in a small screen. You see the stitch? It is Biff Sugar Yarns, and I got this from D-Stash as well. Vanity Fair sock set. There was a lovely wee, like a goldy sock mini with that, but that'll be used for something else. So that's that finished as well. All very samey colours, but very different. See, look. All samey colours, but very different designs. So they're going to be gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. So there you go. That's some knitting, although 2 of those shawls were nearly finished last time when I showed you them. So we'll just say that. And then the saga over a pair of socks. Now, if you've watched before, you'll remember that I knit a pair of Manchester United socks for a teacher at my son's primary school, where I'm a governor, and he sidled up to me at the sports day, no, I can't remember what it was, and said, would you be able to do me another pair for my girlfriend? And she supports Celtic. So many of you got that right when so finished those. Let me show you, sorry, rustling. Finished those. And I put a poll on, and I blocked them, and I finished them, and I put a poll on Instagram and said, would you be happy? Can you see what I can see? Would you be happy to give those away? I carried the yarn, which I often do, but you could see it. and everybody was saying she's not a knitter, she won't mind, it won't bother her, and she's not paying for them, it's just a wee present. And I couldn't I couldn't live with it, so I cut off the, well no, I'll show you what I did first. I tried to do a Kitchener stitch, so I cut off the white and tried to keep the green, and I Kitchener stitched it back on, which in this slide it's rubbish, but it's you can see it's not good enough, and there's a ridge. So, and I tried all sorts of things. I thought, oh, I'll cut them down and do like toe up, and then, oh, do you know what? It was just quicker to knit new ones. And I have to say, the original ones I used white regia, just a sparkle white regia. I wouldn't knit with it again. It is rough. It is, maybe I just got a funny ball. It is so thin and it's horrible. Whereas this green from Attic Spin Dye, and it's Elves wood, is the most perfect green in the world. Beautiful yarn, the perfect colour for what I needed, thanks to Andy. He directed me in the right, and I didn't want to put then an inferior, I'm sorry, it's horrible, yarn beside it. I didn't like knitting with it either. So if you remember last time I showed you a wedding shawl that I had knit for my friend Nikki, and there's a wee scrap left over from that, and it's a white wedding shawl, and it was, I didn't even ask you, Nikki, but I'm sure you won't mind, and I used it, and like a pair of finished Celtic socks. Such an overthinking. So these are the same tops. They're not perfect, but I was so over it by the time we got round to it, and I'm much happier with these. They feel lovely, they feel soft, and yes, I'm done with the football socks. Did you hear me? If you hear me saying I'm done with the football socks. So I'm hoping, and the other thing was, I think the other ones were too big because she's only a size 6 and they fitted me and I'm a size 8. So last pair of socks done for don't even know what her name is. She's from Glasgow, so that's why she probably supports Celtic. And then the very last thing is a pair of socks for the Marie Curie Sock Quest. I was saying I wanted to keep these, but I'm going to give them away. I think they're perfect. They're yellow and they're all the right ways, and it's Irish artisan yarn, and it's the colourway Rathlin. And if you remember, we were planning to go to Rathlin on our trip to Ireland, which didn't happen, and so I don't think I could wear them with the memories of that. So those will go in the package for the Marie Curie Sock Quest, where every don't know if they call them patients, every client in hospices for the Marie Curie cancer care are given a lovely pair of yellow socks for Christmas, because the daffodil is the emblem for Marie Curie. And at some point I'll show you all the ones we've knit. Several friends have knit some too, and we're going to bunch them all together and send them off. And if you want to know more about it, Sherlock Knits is the doctor who organises it. She's on Instagram, or you can look up the Flower Power Fund. That's a very Belfast way to say that. Flower Power Fund on Instagram as well, and you might be able to get details there. If not, I have the address that they get sent to. I'm nearly finishing up at this time and I haven't even started whips. I'm really sorry. That's all the finished objects, and let's so yes, that's all my finished objects. I'm really sorry. I'm not sorry, that's great. Okay, so whips. Sorry, I'm maybe knocking that screen. If you remember, I had planned to finish my finger and weight non-show. I have ripped it out. I didn't like it. I think the non-show for me is the DK ones. It's Casapinka non-show, a couple of years old. I think she did it for local yarn shop day, maybe 2 years ago, who knows. And I have 2 in DK, and I tried to knit one in fingering weight, and it just wasn't for me. So, and it was annoying me. So I've ripped it out. The yarn will be used for something else. I would certainly knit another one in DK, but it's no more. So that fairly cuts down in the whips when you just rip things out, doesn't it? Okay, so, well, I had said, ooh, those things drop on the floor, they'll stay there. I had said about lovely Lauren Peterson of Whimsy, Lark and Whimsy. And I'd said last week, don't forget about the giveaway, get your comments in. I'd said last week about, or last time, sorry, that I wasn't doing any test knits because of my health and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want to commit to something with a time frame. And lovely Lauren got in touch and said, look, I have a test knit coming up, and I'd mentioned this test knit. Would you like to do it with no time constraints at all? And I was like, oh, perfect. I would have bought the finished pattern anyway. I don't even know when it's coming out because I'm not on the test knit group. I would have bought the finished pattern anyway because it's right up my street, and I started it and it's great. I can't see any faults in it unless somebody else has found something. It's charted and written, I think, but for about the last 6 months I've really tried to stick with charts and really just knit from charts if I can. I think it's actually, I don't get as confused with all the writing, you know. And anyway, so this is I'm trying to find a picture of it because I don't have, it's obviously a test knit, so it's not up. Maybe see that. This isn't the finished one, obviously, but it's the Eleonora. Yeah, Eleonora. If you can see, it's going to be a poncho, which if you know me, you know I love a poncho. Look at that. This is obviously the test knit picture. This is not going to be finished. She did a lovely reel on Instagram. If you want to check her out under her Instagram name. And what I have done so far is this. And I'll tell you about the yarn in a minute. So I was going to cast it on with a plain yarn, and then this arrived. You know, back and front. I think this is the... This is what I've done so far. I finished the yoke. Look at that cable. Oh, I love cables. I thought maybe it wouldn't show well in this yarn, but it has shown up so well. And so that would go down the front. Where's my cables? I'm not sure which is the front and back. I have to sort it out. That'll go down, you know, sort of your yoke, and this will be your arms. But look at that. I am in love with it. Absolutely in love with it. Changes colour when you bring it away from the screen, but I just wanted to show you those cables. I mean, look. Oh, gorgeous. And this yarn came in my wool swap, which arrived, oh, I don't know, not long after the podcast. And I got two. We decided, between our wool swap partners, we decided to take yarn from stash. We both have considerable stash, and it turns out that we've swapped with each other before. So lovely Alethea has obviously knows me and sent me some yarn. If we have time, I'll show you some later on. And she and I sent her some, obviously, and I sent hers early because I thought I was heading off, but that's another story. And so these two skeins came, and I just thought perfect. So it is truly hooked, hand dyed, and the colourway is Beekeeper, and it's in standard sock, superwash merino nylon. So soft. Oh my goodness, it's so soft. And I really wanted to do it both together in a project. If you've never done, I always say, if you've never done wool swap before, go on to Instagram at wool swap. It's run by an Australian lady, or I think it's woolswap.au. Not sure, I'll put details down below. And you might meet new friends, you might get some yarn that you wouldn't normally have. And last time I did it with a lovely lady from Australia. I'll show you the other yarn, but she sent me gorgeous, she even sent me treats for our dog. Isn't that lovely? She sent me little notions and bits and pieces, and we had a lovely wool swap. So that is the Eleonora Capelet. I'm not sure when it'll be coming out. I'm not on the test group, and it's been lovely, no pressure. I'll get it done when I get it done, but just a lot. What designer Lauren's just been so kind and so nice to let me do that. And as I say, I would have bought the pattern anyway, and that's just in my usual Yarnalicious project bag. And then you've seen this one before, and probably I'm just dipping in and out of this one, and it's from the knitting magazine from issue 233, and I'll put a picture up of what it should look like. It's by Martin Story, and it is the Delphine by Martin Story, and it's a big long wrap, a big long knit, and then it's made into a poncho. It's joined here to make into a poncho. And I'll show you what I've done so far if I don't pull my stitches off the needles. The right side. And I had only one, it's a 20 row repeat, and I'd only one done last time, but just to show you how it's progressing. I think it'll block up because it's lace, it'll block up, see if I can block it a bit. See, block up so beautifully. So I might join it as a poncho, or I might keep it as a big wrap. I haven't decided yet. And I'm using a cone of woolly knit, yarn to cone from woolly knit in this colourway. I'm a bit obsessed with the pink derivatives. I don't think of myself as a pink person, but I love this colour, and it is Lupin 100 British wool cone, 100% wool. And that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good representation of it. So that'll just be something that I pick up. And actually at one point I only had things that were charted, and it was a bit kind of blowing my mind. And that's in another So Yarnalicious bag. I love this one with all the ladies on it. Can't remember if she did this one she often gives a percentage to charity to the refuge, to the Women's Refuge. Can't remember if this was one for that. But it's gorgeous nonetheless. And then my last whip, you'll be glad to hear, at 46 minutes, you've seen before, in my big donkey bag. Do you remember the donkey at Easter? And it is, that's from Jibby Rousseau's, and she's just done an update of bags and yarn. She's started Dan Yarns, lovely, and I'll put the details of her shop down below. She's on Etsy. And this is the Maya, M-A-J-A. I know there's a lot of patterns with that name. And it's from the Contrast book. And so I'm going to show you the name of this person because I can't say it. It's Maiju KP. And you know, you get a book sometimes, or a magazine, or a pom-pom, or liner, or whatever, and you maybe like 2 or 3 things out of it. I think everything in this book I like. If you're into cables, or if you're into textured, like look, and that's definitely going on the needles at some point, textured knitting, this is the book for you. It's absolutely, I mean, it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. And so I'm knitting one out of that. I'll put the picture of what it should look like up there. And I'm knitting it in good old Drops Alaska in the colourway 66. It's kind of a browny goldy colour. And I have finished the body. It's the measuring tape on the floor. And I finished the body, and the detail is, I mean, it's all curling obviously because I still have to put the button band on, but that's beautiful detail. Now, if you remember, I said that my left and rights of these stitches, what are these stitches? RT and LT. The right is always nice. Hang on till we get my right. Yes. This is always perfect, lovely and structured and crisp. And this side always ends up being more not crisp. Now, it's not the end of the world, but as you see going down, I have improved, and that's thanks to lovely Laura from Penrose Knits, who was knitting a sweater for her sister with the same design, you know, the crisscross design, and she was having the same problems, and she her pattern apparently told her how to do it, and I'm definitely much happier with these ones than I am with the ones at the top. But could I cope with going back and ripping out? No, I couldn't. And her tip was to do these stitches, you knit into the back loop of the second stitch and then knit through both stitches immediately into the back loop. Whereas I was knitting, following YouTube or tutorials or whatever, I was knitting in, this is going to be double Dutch if you have no clue what I'm talking about, but if you know this kind of twisted sort of stitch, you'll know what I'm talking about. I was knitting into the second back loop of the second stitch and then knitting into just the back loop of the first stitch. Yeah, Send me a message if you haven't a clue what I'm talking about, but it's definitely improved. Thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate that. I'm much happier with that. So I have the arms to do, obviously. This is Aran weight, so that's why it's knit up so quick. I have the arms to do and the button band to do, but this is on hold because it's tubular bind off, and you do the button band, you start at the bottom and go across and then do the button band up. I'm not a big fan of a tubular bind off, but I'll stick to the pattern. Absolutely love this shoulder detail. Absolutely love it. So if that was all double Dutch, I do apologise. And I don't understand why an Aran, a ball of Aran wool is in a 50-gram ball, because I have a million ends to sew in. This is obviously a worsted, because everything's worsted these days. This is worsted pattern, and technically speaking, Aran weight and worsted is the same. It's the same ply, but I can never get gauge with it. I have had to go up a full needle size on both needles. So it should have been a 4 and a 5, and I had to go up to a 5 and a 6 millimeters. I don't know what that is in US sizes, sorry, but it's just going to be so cozy. And the way things are heading in this country with cost of living and all the rest of it, we were talking about it, saying, yes, sorry, there'll be lots of woolly jumpers this year, but not so much turning on the heat. So that'll be done, and I can't look at that enough. I just love it. So that's my whips, and all of those are well on course to being done. So of course I need to cast on something new. Well, the Delphine will just be, I'm just going to pick it up and do rounds when I feel like doing it. There's no rush. It's a lovely pattern. I say it's only a 20, it's the sort of thing you can knit when you're sitting with the kids or whatever. So that'll get done too. So, and obviously I have a pair of socks in my handbag, another pair for the Marie Curie sock quest, but they're downstairs. I'll show you those when they're finished. Okay, so future knitting. Two things. One is I am definitely doing the Stephen West MCAL, the twist and turns. He showed a cable needle and I was in. Give me a cable and I love it. So I will show you, I'm looking at the yarn that I've picked. I'm not decided 100%, but I think I am. Yes, I will show that next time. And the other thing is, and Mum, forgive me for this, but for Christmas, my mum is very knit worthy, and for Christmas she sent me a picture of this picture. Well, I think it was actually a different one, but it's this cardigan. And she said, could you knit something like that? And I thought this was a pattern picture, but this was out of a catalogue. So I looked and looked and looked, and I just couldn't find the thing I wanted. And my brain, she thought maybe I could just design something, but I'm not that person. So we talked to my brother. It was quite expensive. Talked to my brother, and we went halfers on it, and it came, because I was scared that I would miss it. And she loves the colour of it, and it came yesterday. And it is the quality for the price, let's just say it's expensive, was ridiculous. I've never seen such badly put together, and 100% wool, but the button bands were longer than the item. The sleeve was all funny, the collar was all twisted, it was terrible, so it's going back. So we're still in she wants the colour, which is not a problem, I'll be able to get that, no problem, but we're still in decision making. So if I am calling out to my lovely viewers, now there's 4,000 something of you, has anybody seen a pattern like this? I have looked at Ravelry, maybe I'm just looking at the wrong place. She likes the collar, she wants DK if possible, and it was possibly a 4-ply. You could have spit through it. I could see, you could read the newspaper through it. It was so thin. She really wants it to be like a coatigan kind of thing. Sorry, Mum, talking about you. So if anybody has any ideas, because I think it was moss stitch with little cables, but I think it's actually the collar she likes the most. If you see it, if you see anything like it, please drop me a line on Instagram, or even comments below. Email, whatever, because I would love to be able to knit something for Christmas, and I think I could do a better job. Maybe I'm just too fussy because I'm a knitter, but I was really disappointed. Even the button band, the button holes were really badly done. She has written a bad review on the website. We'll not say where it came from. So that's going back today. But so if you can help me out, please let me know if you can find something like that on Ravelry, or a pattern, or something that I could knit that up for, and we'll get the wool and everything. So that's a wee please help me request there. Right, if you've stuck out to this ramble, you might need subtitles on. It's been so fast. I really appreciate it. The last things I want to do very quickly, and there's just a few, is I just reach this basket up, it's getting to the bottom of it, is some incoming, and I'll just lift them out. And as I was saying, we had a couple of unplanned car journeys since I last talked to you. Right, let's get that down. Sorry. Ooh. Ooh, pull everything down. And my kids and my husband arrived back from Ireland at about 10 o'clock at night, and the car wouldn't start. And the AA, if the Automobile Association, not the other one, and down here in the summertime is just mad with tourists, and they said it was the busiest place in the UK for accidents, cars not starting, all the rest of it. So we had no hope of getting anybody out to sort the car. So at midnight, I set off to Bristol to pick up my family. It's about 2 hours away. Now at night, at that time it was about just over 2 hours, which was great. And picked them up. And as I was coming back past about 2:30 in the morning, I saw this. Hopefully I can put this up. And I was halfway home and thought, did I really see it? Was that like, you know, a mirage? So we had to go back a couple of days later, and the AA came out and we needed a new battery for our car. That's another story. And it took us nearly 3.5 hours to get there because of traffic and everything. So 3.5 hours knitting in the car, fantastic. But we drove past, and yes, it was real, and it was a real thing. And it was, so while my husband was with the AA man, me and my lovely wee boy went down the road in 1,000-degree heat. 2 minutes from where the car was parked, and we went into this lovely wee yarn shop, wee being the operative word, and met Kim. Picture of Kim. Now I took video and it was terrible. I am not, you'll know I'm I am not a videographer. I tried to slow it down and it still gave me nearly motion sickness, so sorry Kim, there's no video, but she's online. She sells everything from John Arbon through to recycled yarn, through to you know, the West Yorkshire spinners, all that sort of stuff. She's got hand dyed, she's got amazing collection of books and magazines and knitting needles, and she was just sitting there on a chair in the middle of the shop with a fan on, and bless her, it was a bazillion degrees, and she was so cheery and welcoming. Another lady was there too, and my son sat in the car, so it was a bit of a whirlwind run in. I really wish I'd taken more time to pay attention, and I just thought, you know what, I have done all of this and struggled, so I'm going to buy some yarn. And the 2 skeins that I bought were from a dyer that I love, and apparently she just lives down the road, and I have other yarn from her, but I got these 2 beauties, and they are Wool Matters Fibre Co, and I have knit several mindfulness shawls in her yarn, and I absolutely love it, and I'm going to put those 2 together. And then I have another one that I might put in, but I'm not 100%, and it's 50% Exmoor blue faced, 30% Devon blue faced, and 20% Devon Wensleydale, and madder pink and madder peach, so it's botanically dyed, and I just fell in love with it. It's actually, this is a wee bit darker. So that is Wool Matters Fibre Co. And you'll see me through the winter wearing those mindfulness shawls, no doubt. So that was my wee payment until I thought it was a real wee treat, until I went back to pick up my husband, to check with my husband that he was all right, and he told me he had to buy a new battery for the car. Oh. Anyway, it was bought, so there's nothing I can do about it. So that was the end, and it was about a 4-hour journey home. So it was a labour of love to pick up the car, and nothing ever straightforward with us. But if you are going to Bristol Airport for anything, call in. It's very, very close. Or if you're looking for anything online, she does great service, and she's doing advents of recycled yarn. Maybe that's not the right way to describe it, but check her out on Instagram or online. Alternate, and I'll put the details down below, and I'm chuffed to bits with these two wee purchases. Then, because I thought my mum was going to be here, if you haven't watched the previous, go back. I had booked for us to do a yarn dyeing workshop as a wee mummy, daughter and granddaughter early Christmas present. None of our Christmas presents are working out this. Yes, I've said Christmas in September, never mind. So Eva and I did it anyway at the Woolly Beater with lovely Laura, and we had a lot of fun, made a lot of mess, put water all over the floor, but Eva had a ball, and she wears some hand knitted mitts to school, and they're well past needing a new pair, and she wanted something for around her neck, so she chose the colours she wanted. It was food dye colouring, but the colours she wanted just weren't perfect, but she ended up with this, which I think she's done really, really well. This is my skeining, and she's very, very happy with this. And then I did basically the same, but I put wee spots of orange in. But we had so much fun, we really did. And as I say, I'm never going to be a yarn dyer. My nerves were shot, I couldn't cope with it. I take my hat off to any yarn dyers out there. So you'll see a pair of mittens probably in this at least, and I'm going to put mine, don't know what I'm going to do with mine, but we really, really enjoyed doing it. So thank you very much, Laura. And then last but not least, as I said, I got my wool swap package, and I showed you the lovely Truly Hooked yarn, and I'm to show you the card that came with it. Isn't that brilliant? From lovely, I hope I'm saying your name right, Alethea. I just love that. So that's going on the wall. As somebody said, my craft room is like a student's room where you used to stick all the things in the wall. But I don't care. So that'll be going up on my wall after the podcast. And including those two, and as I said, chocolate, gift, treats for the dog. I'm looking at it here. That's what, lots of different things. She also sent me this skein from Siobhan's Craft. So that's an old skein because she hasn't had that. Yeah, but I said we decided between us to do, it was absolutely, we were sending destashing from our stash, and this is one of a kind fleck of paint, and it's Polworth, 80% Polworth, 20% nylon, so that makes fantastic socks. And then this lovely skein, which is Scapias, is that right, Dawn? Scapias. A natural indigo dye, Skies Light, and it's 100% cotton, I think. Where did I see cotton? It's in Dutch. It's called Cumulus. Yes, premium blend cotton. So that'll be lovely too. So that was a lovely swap. Always great to get a swap. Not doing it this time because I'm paying so much money to post off Cal prizes. But yeah, so I had podcasts. I keep doing this every week. I had podcasts to recommend, and we've gone way, way over our time, and I think we need to draw it to a close. And if you've stuck it out this long, that's the problem with not podcasting for a while. Hopefully it'll be a bit better next time if I can get back to the 2 to 3 week mark again. It'll be much less rambly. But if you've watched my podcast before, you know that I'm a Christian and that I like to share a wee bit of what God's laid in my heart at the end. And I did a wee series there, and I think I want to do another wee series for the next few, maybe 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks. And today I just want to talk to you a wee bit about that. But obviously, if you don't think this is for you, if you've had enough of the excuse me, of the knitting and everything, if that's what you're here for, no bother at all. I don't mind, I won't be offended. But if you want to stay, listen, it's nothing mind-blowing. It's no deep theological expositions. It's just wee bit that the Lord's put in my heart to share with you. And if you want to stay, you're welcome to. But if you're heading off, you have a lovely couple of weeks. Thanks so much. Keep on knitting those shawls. Keep on posting them on Instagram and Ravelry. And maybe by the next time we'll be nearly finished. And we'll have a bit more chat together then. And as I say, if you want to contact me, feel free, get in touch. And until then, just keep on knitting. Thanks very much. Bye-bye. Right, for those of you who are staying, I just wanted to ask you, who have you now or in the past put your confidence in? What have you put your confidence in? Maybe at one point in parents, siblings, teachers, friends, money, job, yourself, government. In the UK at the minute, we have just got a new Prime Minister. We're not even going into that. And I definitely don't follow politics. I definitely don't. But I know whoever is getting into power generally promises the world but then delivers very little of it, inevitably lets people down for one reason or another. They may be held up like the best thing since sliced bread, and then within days of them being in power, they're back to the worst thing ever. And we never really know who we can believe or trust. And how's it going for you putting your confidence in any of the people or things that I mentioned in that list? Maybe you have had a fantastic positive experience, or maybe it's been a total disaster for you. Maybe you've even tacked God onto the bottom of that list at the end, like an insurance policy, like, you know, break glass in case of emergency, just to have him there, just in case. And maybe you've even been in a situation where you've been in a really dire straits and you've cried out to God and you said, God, if you get me through this, I'll do X, Y, and Z for you. And then whenever the trouble passes, which it does, you forget and you go back to your old ways. You go back to the things you were doing before. Now more than ever, I think we need someone or something to put our confidence in. But if we think of our list, the list that you've maybe made in your head, or the list that I mentioned, and then we think of our current situation, how many of those things or those people have really stood up to the pressures of life, the pressures that you're going through? Have they really stuck by you? Have they been there for you? Has it solved your problems? Many of us come from places of real privilege, whether that's financially, where we live, the colour of our skin, whatever. But yet we all struggle with one thing and another. I want to remind you of how and why we can put our full confidence in God anytime, anywhere, and any situation. Do you know, I've told you most of this before. I probably think, but I think it bears repeating. And today I just want to talk about how we can have confidence in God's love. I have quoted John 3:16 nearly every podcast. It's probably, even if you've never stepped foot in a church, even if you've never opened a leaf of a Bible, you probably know John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that everyone, I'm using the King James is how I learnt these verses, that everyone believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. Everyone. If you were the only person on earth, he would have sent his precious, sinless, blameless son to die for you. That's mind-blowing, isn't it? His love is the epitome of grace, a gift undeserved but willingly given. Grace is closely related to God's benevolence, love and mercy. And someone said grace can be variously defined as God's favour towards the unworthy, or God's benevolence on the undeserving. We don't deserve his love in any shape or form, but yet his love is unconditional. There's nothing we can do to make him love us less. I've told you that before. And many, many people try. Maybe you have lost the love and trust of people who once said they love you because of something you did, or because of something you said, or because of something you didn't do. But that never happens with God. Matthew 5 verse 45 says, for he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. He doesn't pick and choose who he loves. He just loves, and he loves you. You don't have to look a certain way, have a certain skin colour, have a certain hair colour, have a certain elevation in life. He loves us all. And I hope today you love him too. I hope you have asked him to be your saviour. I hope you have asked him to live in your life, to be the boss of every part of your life. I hope you know that overwhelming sense of confidence that you have Christ in your life. And someday when this old world is all over, that you'll be with him in heaven. You know, I don't know this person, obviously. I don't know much about this person, but there was a song. I love Christian worship. I love Christian songs, right from the old hymns from 17 whatever right through to modern day, and I listen to them a lot. But this one just captured my mind when I was talking about this, and it was written in 1948 by a Southern Gospel Convention writer. Maybe some of the Americans will know him, Vep Ellis, V-E-P Ellis, some of the American names, I love them, and it's called The Love of God. But the chorus says, The love of God is greater far than gold or silver ever could afford. It reaches past the highest star and covers all the world. Its power is eternal, its glory is supernal. When all this earth shall pass away, there'll always be the precious love of God. And I hope you'll take that into your heart today. I hope you'll really feel that overwhelming love of God. If you want to listen to that song, the Gaithers, Google the Gaithers, have done a really good version of it, which would just stick the hairs on the back of your head up. But I really hope today you'll be reminded of God's love. And as we go into a few more podcasts, you'll hear of the other ways that you can have your total confidence in God. If you don't know God's love, if you don't feel God's love today, if you've never experienced God's love, if you don't even know a clue what I'm talking about, please get in touch. I would hate you to go away today and just think that's nice and then move on. Do get in touch. As I always say, I'm not an expert. I don't know the answers to everything. Don't attain to know the answers to everything. I'm just living as a Christian in the same life as many as you are living. But I just want to share the great news of the gospel in this life where there's so little good news. I have good news to tell you and to share with you today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for putting up with me. When I go back and edit this, it might just be an old ramble and I'll have to do it all again. I hope I didn't rub my nose too much. But thank you again. I don't take it for granted. Please, please, please put a comment in for the free patterns. So either the Always Better Together or the Pheodora. It doesn't have to be the Pheodora, but that's the easiest way for me to pick it up. One is by Brenda Brayfield, the Always Better Together by Brenda Brayfield, and the Pheodora is by Lauren Petersons. So go on to Ravelry and look them up and see if there's get an idea, look them up on Instagram. Both beautiful designers, and I feel very blessed to have been given these patterns to give away. And again, thank you so much for amazing subscribers, watchers, all the rest of it. And yeah, that's it. Till next time, keep on knitting and keep safe, and God bless and thank you. Bye.